All right, what's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 6 of the Beans and Business podcast. So today I'm with Lep and Christian of Lakeside Athletics in Grimsby.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And we're going to talk about everything fitness, how to start a gym. We're going to talk about it all today. So, gentlemen, first, give me your origin story. Give me like the comic book origin story. How'd you get into working out? How'd you guys end up opening up a gym together? Walk me through it.
Sure.
Go first.
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay.
You're older.
So,
Go first.
Pretty much for myself, I started fitness pretty much later in life. I was a kid that just was your typical hung out, party, drank, smoked, did all the bad things growing up until it took me some time to kind of realize that, hey, I don't want to keep doing this anymore, and I started to just dabble into fitness, with a little bit of bodybuilding here and there, and then I started working at a commercial gym. From that commercial gym, I found CrossFit. So from there, I pretty much did CrossFit for about 6 years. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. What was the initial motivation? Was it like
just seeing myself going down a rabbit hole of just like bad things. So for me, I didn't want to see myself continue to go down that path of just
How old were you?
I was about 26 when I made that change.
Really? So you got into fitness like rather late
in life? Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's crazy. Because I'm like 25 right now, so I'm like, that's wild. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a crazy story. Because for me, like personally, I remember it was like literally because I was kind of a doughy kid in like grade 10, and I was like, I wanted to meet girls. That was literally, it was very simple. It wasn't super deep or complex. It was like, well, I should probably hit the gym.
So we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So for myself, I was really just unhealthy. I didn't eat a lot. Like I said, I was smoking and drinking, just hanging around with the wrong crowd. And it just took me just that time to kind of realize that, hey, I don't want to see myself continue going down that rabbit hole. So I saw that fitness was my way of just getting out of that and looking to like a positive light, surrounding myself with
build better habits.
Yeah, build better habits and just being around like-minded people to have a better lifestyle. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome. What about you?
Yeah, probably more along the lines of kind of like your story. I started always athletic, like hockey, baseball, golf, whatever, any sport, played it, but I was always like that chubby kid, right? Like obviously like diet, nutrition played a huge part in that. Like looking back on how like I ate as a kid, I'm just like, oh my God, like I'd never feed my kids that now. But in saying that, like it's kind of part of the process growing up. You kind of learn things. So, but same thing through high school, always like whatever, reading Men's Health, like, oh, I want the 6-pack, like whatever. So I started a little bit later, not as late as Lep, but training probably like college, so like 19, 20, so maybe a little bit earlier than Lep did, but yeah, and I just really got into it, kept training, training turned into like 2-a-days, extreme dieting, so like just like your typical bro diet, right, like fish, greens, like little fat, kept doing it. So I started out, I was probably about like 225 through high school. Went down to 128 in about a year.
128?
Yeah. So I lost like 100 pounds in a year. Became like an unhealthy eating pattern. Obviously, like the signs were all there, low energy. I remember like I worked a job at the hospital through college, and I'd be like driving home from work, and I'd be like sticking my head out the window to stay awake, chewing like 2 packs of gum a day, drinking a ton of coffee just to kind of keep the energy levels up because the food was so low and it didn't match. My nutrition didn't match how much I was training. I worked out at a commercial gym, and I met a couple trainers there who kind of really changed my perspective on how to eat and whatnot. And so I started working with them. And then through that kind of grew my passion to want to kind of help people and jump into the same thing. So I started working at that same commercial gym as a trainer, as a personal trainer. I worked there for about 7 years, become one of the top trainers in the company. Eventually just kind of wanted to branch out to be able to kind of control my own clientele and control my own business. So I started working at a gym, just kind of like renting space essentially at a gym, but more of like a private gym. Worked there for a few years, and then from there, actually, I had met Lep through this commercial gym. I had seen him there training a few times before, and we chatted. And then I found out he had a gym in Beamsville, so just down the road from where I'm in Grimsby, and just did some seminars through Lep as well, like nutrition seminars. And then that's how we got connected. And then it kind of went from there in terms of, we got in touch one day and we're like, let's talk about opening up a spot. Like, I think it's a good opportunity, especially where we are in Grimsby. And then, yeah, it kind of proceeded from there and hit some speed bumps called a pandemic, but
that's it.
It's going smoothly.
So how long have you guys been like Lakeside Athletics? How long has that business been?
So Lakeside Athletics, we've opened since last year. So November of last year.
So you guys are, it's new.
We are brand new.
We opened like right going into the
perfect timing, right?
Thick of it.
So, okay, so what have you guys, so you both get into fitness kind of like slightly later in life compared to some people.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go down extreme diet path. You have like a pretty normal trajectory and just stop drinking and partying by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I just surrounded myself with the people that I wanted to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Working at a commercial gym just like Christian, doing personal training for quite a bit of time, and then I opened that gym location out in Beamsville, which is not too far from Grimsby. And then from there, it just took me some time to kind of realize what I saw in fitness and what people wanted for fitness. Before that, I was in a place where I was always in a competitive mindset, so I was always competing in powerlifting, competing in CrossFit, and I didn't see, and I used that competitive mindset and translated into my training of others, which was the wrong mentality to see things. So it took me some time to kind of take a step back and realize, hey, not everybody wants to compete, not everybody wants to, go hard all the time, right? Most of the people that we train now, they just want to feel good, look good, and be able to do their, daily functions, right? So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So so first of all, what have you guys been doing during the pandemic to kind of bridge this time? Obviously, you're a new business, pandemic hits, gyms get hit probably the hardest, arguably.
Right. Yeah, other than restaurants, I would say probably we're the industry that's gotten hit the hardest for sure.
For sure.
Especially seeing now everything opening up and the opportunities that have been given to places, and the work that there's been a couple of organizations especially in Ontario, I think gyms, other than Quebec, probably were the hardest hit province for sure.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of work with the governments, and we're getting no leeway. But we're open. So we opened in November, and we're open about a month and
a half.
Right, and then was it December 24th? I think we got the second lockdown, and
okay.
So we're open a month and a half, and started to make that progress towards new members were starting to come, people were wanting to join, making progress with the members we already had, and it's boom, shut down again.
So you've been keeping people engaged via doing some outdoor classes and stuff?
Yeah, we just recently started outdoor classes again when we're quote unquote allowed to. But we were doing virtual before that as well.
Sweet.
And that's hard because it's hard to stay motivated to want to come on Zoom for half an hour a couple times a day. For people, it's not the same as coming to a class and being able to build that community with other people. So I think a lot of our members struggled with that. So it's kind of nice now. I know we've seen a big boom in terms of how many members are coming to the outdoor classes for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did one of the outdoor classes and I was fucking broken out. Absolutely.
Especially now getting in the hotter weather, you get sweaty and.
Oh yeah, you're just drowning out there the whole time. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was good. And with the big thing about you guys is, we've all seen the unfit personal trainer. Mm-hmm. They do exist, and I've never understood it. And I don't even know if I want to comment back from you guys on it. It was good to see when Lep told me that he trained people, because I met Lep first. It was good to see that Lep was fucking fit. So that's a big thing. There's a credibility piece too with what you guys do. So
for sure.
When you guys are back open in your facility, hopefully within the next few weeks, month, whatever, what makes you guys different?
Good.
I think what makes this different is the community aspect of it, the personality that we bring to not just our one-on-one clients but to our classes too as well. I mean, I think our members, they speak for what our community is. We have a lot of people that drive from, you know, Hamilton, St. Catharines, really all over, just to see us, right? It's not our programming, it's not anything else. It's who we are as a team, as a group of coaches, is what draws people to our community. So,
and I think like we're hoping to have like members that want to stay for a long time too, right? Like
like a revolving door.
Like for myself, like I train a lot of one-on-one clients. Like we do a lot of one-on-one training as well, along with our group training. And a lot of my clients I've had for like years, like since like I was at the commercial gym. So like going on like 5, 4, 3 years, right? So, and I think that speaks a lot to a coach's or a trainer's ability to build rapport and build a relationship with somebody, which I think is super important too. So I think relationships is big with our gym. And then obviously like we want to give people what they want. So I know there's like certain types of fitness that people get maybe a little, they hear the word CrossFit and they get scared
to say,
right? And which I think that opinion's changing now in the industry for sure, because the coaching is getting better. But like for us, I think having really good coaching, keeping our clients healthy and kind of giving them what they want and need is super important too. So.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, you guys know, in the kind of meme culture of the internet, CrossFit had like an injury connotation for a long time, right? And I mean, just based on volume, I haven't been to any CrossFit gyms actually, but just based on volume of the ones that popped up, you gotta assume like, it's like, I'm in the coffee industry, 10 coffee shops pop up, probably 8 of them are shit. So it's the same thing. Like there's probably 8 shit CrossFit.
Well, it's the same with any industry.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you go to different chiropractors, massage therapists. Like there's one on every corner, and it's like most of them aren't good, unfortunately. But and then in saying that, we're a smaller facility as well. So if you're looking at something like our coach to client ratio is fairly low. We want to keep it like a 1 to 6 type thing. Which allows us to coach each person a lot more effectively as well. So form's really important. Like you're not seeing people doing, and we're not doing a lot of the more advanced stuff. So we're able to kind of really make sure that somebody's progressing properly through all the movements as well.
Which is huge, yeah. So let's say I were to sign up for your gym. What does it look like? Like I'm coming in like completely novice as far as like powerlifting, CrossFit. What does a program I assume it's tailored, but what does it roughly look like? Like what am I doing?
So it basically depends on what your goals. If you're working one-on-one with either Christian or myself, that's very individualized. But if it's just a basic class, we typically put you through just like a one-on-one session where we get to know you, see how you move and things like that, and introduce you to some of the movements that you would see in a typical class setting. Teach you how to squat, deadlift, press, overhead, and things like that, and then kind of go from there.
And then obviously we'd find out like, do you have any injuries? What are your prior injuries? What's your prior sporting background? Like, if you're 60 years old and you've never trained in your life, like you're gonna progress a lot differently than someone like you who's worked out before. You're 25. It's like, okay, we can probably progress you a little bit faster through that. And then we'll talk a little bit about like nutrition and stuff through that. Like we've been doing through the pandemic like a lot of virtual seminars.
Sweet.
So we did one on nutrition. We've done some on gut health, and like we've kind of I think we'll plan on hopefully getting to do some in person too, and we get it back in, and just giving people the tools they need to be able to make progress and kind of see the results they want. So.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone came in, let's say someone comes in and let's say someone listening right now is overweight and they want to lose, I don't know, 20 pounds over the next 3 to 6 months. Where would you guys start? Is it a diet thing? Is it an exercise thing? Is it a combination of both? What would you suggest?
I would say just a combination of both, right? It doesn't have to be something that's very overwhelming to somebody, especially that right away. Because if I was that person too, somebody just threw me in there and like, oh my god, this is like, I don't know if I can do this, right? It gets very intimidating to somebody that's new to health in general or fitness in general. to kind of throw them just like, right into the waters. It'd be like a really slow progress into something that's long term. I wouldn't use like 3 to 6 months because that's just probably unrealistic.
Yeah, that's hard. Like,
right? So it's very
especially like there's so many. It's been whatever it took somebody 3 years of eating badly or whatever it may be to get to that point, and then like a lot of and you see that with everybody. It's like it takes somebody a lifetime to gain the weight that they gained, and then they want to lose it in 3 to 6 months, and they have already these really really bad habits built up upon each other. So then to kind of break those habits down brick by brick is going to take a lot of time. So starting with something like small, like okay, you're joining the gym, let's get you into 2 classes per week, and then in terms of your food, let's just get you drinking a glass of water in the morning, and that might be the first week.
Yeah.
And then the second week, maybe like, okay, maybe you want to come to another class, or you just do those 2 classes, whatever works for that person. And then let's do water in the morning and a walk in the morning, right? So just like building healthy habits upon healthy habits. And then I think the most important thing long term is consistency. Like if you want to stay lean and you want to keep staying lean and losing that weight, and then like maintaining that, which is the hard part for people. Everyone's seen The Biggest Loser. Yeah, it's really easy to crash diet somebody and get somebody to lose a lot. I did it, right? I lost 100 pounds in a year by eating like an asshole and overtraining, right? And like it's possible for sure, but I saw issues with that stuff. Like my hair was thinning, testosterone levels, like there were so many different things that got affected by that. So I think to do it properly, it's going to be consistency over time, which is probably the most important part and the hardest part to get across to somebody, because everybody wants a quick fix.
Everybody,
right? Everyone, like you're seeing that through everything. So everything in life, everybody wants it fast because it's fast food, it's fast whatever. So to kind of get that through to somebody, that's going to be consistency over time that really brings everlasting results is super important.
100%. Do you guys do any sport-specific training there? Like so my brother plays like semi-professional soccer. If he came in, have you guys put together programs for athletes before, or right now you're trying to appeal more to like the general public?
I would say like our class, I think everybody can gain fitness from doing our classes for sure, no matter who it is. And but like in terms of one-on-one, like yeah, I've trained athletes before, hockey players, downhill skiers, soccer players, volleyball players, rowers. So I've
wrestling.
Like I've done all that stuff as well. So I would say in terms of like sport specific, like I know we're looking at probably working with some schools, maybe some teams through that as well in the future.
Once the pandemic starts to clear up, and things start to really open up for indoor sports and things like that.
But I would say like more like if it's going to be like a sport specific type person, then like one-on-one training would probably be more to that direction for sure.
Okay, awesome. And then when someone comes and signs up at your gym, there's levels to it. Like someone can come in for a couple classes a week, 3. Like how many classes are you planning to run? What's kind of the general breakdown?
So we have I think right now our current schedule, we run 7 classes throughout the day. All of our memberships, we have 3 different tiers of memberships. We have a Metcon class, we have a Concept 2 class, and then we have it's pretty much a HIIT class, so there's no thinking to it. It's for someone that just wants to come in, get out, get a workout in.
Yeah, like the Metcon's more of like, you're going to see like some barbell work in the Metcon, maybe a little bit more complex movements. The HIIT would be more like dumbbell, kettlebell, body weight stuff.
Understood.
And then the Concept 2 is like working with Concept 2 machines, so like rowing, skier, Concept 2 bike.
Okay.
So it's more of like an aerobic based class for sure.
Okay.
And then people can sign up for like unlimited, where it's like you could literally come to 3 classes a day, 7 days a week. Like you could do whatever you want, right? Obviously we wouldn't recommend that, but and then there's like you can pick 2 classes, and then or you can just do like a 1 class, and then obviously we have our one-on-one training you can do as well. And then going from there, like I know we started doing like yoga and stuff on Sundays, so that we're hopefully maybe we can bring that into the facility once everything opens up.
All right, so what do you guys see as kind of the next step? What's the future for your business? What's your ambitions? Is it multiple locations? Is it what's the plan? What's the 5-year plan? What's the 10-year plan?
Well, originally when we opened, when we're actually looking at spaces, we were looking at like large spaces. Like we looked at one that was like 7,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet, like big, yeah. But then I think we look in terms of like, okay, offering a better service, I think is easier to do in a smaller space, and especially with the time, right? Like we're opening a gym in a pandemic, so it's like, okay, do we want to have that? Like obviously the rent per square foot's cheaper, but it's a lot of space to fill. Like we don't know how it's going to go. So I think with opening up a smaller space, the goal was always to kind of expand in the future. I know Lep and I have talked about opening up like another location, maybe Niagara Way more. So yeah, I think we have a lot kind of planned for the future for sure in terms of that.
Yeah.
And then we also recently been having conversations with different like incorporating chiro, physio, and just making it like an all-in-one kind of health and fitness space, coffee bar, recovery stuff, right? So like sauna, ice bath, like all that stuff, super popular, and I think important. And to be able to offer that all in one space is super convenient. Kind of like what we talked about, people like easy, right? So it's like everyone likes to have their groceries coming to them now, and they like to be able to go to one, like, why is some of the, like the superstore so cool? Like you can go there, you can buy clothes, you can get groceries, you can do all that stuff. So kind of having fitness, lifestyle, all that stuff in one spot, I think would be kind of really, really big for the area too, because you don't see that a lot in Niagara.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. Like you see it in larger markets. I guess it would just be making like the economics work in a space like that, right? So would the idea be to like rent space almost to those different components, or like you guys run like an umbrella and kind of, you know what I mean? Actually,
yeah.
Because I'm sure like you guys are into fitness. You guys don't want to manage like a coffee bar, for example, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the idea would be to section off space and almost rent it out as part
Pretty
of
much,
like,
yes. Have different separate entities of that market or that field, whether it be chiro, physio, or coffee bar. Have them pretty much solely run on their own as a separate entity under just one big umbrella.
One umbrella. So, question for you guys. You guys are obviously partners. What's been the biggest, like, has there been any challenges, any setbacks? Like, I work with my dad, so I know working with other people can be challenging. So, has there been arguments, disagreements? Has there been anything that's put you guys under any pressure?
I would say like there's always going to be like kind of like different views on things, and you're going to butt heads on certain things in a relationship, like any relationship, wife, dad, mom, whatever. It's going to be like that. Especially like Lep and I, like we didn't have like a lot of past history together, which I think sometimes is good. Mm-hmm. Like I don't necessarily think it's a great idea to go into business with family or like best friends. Like I've seen how that works out, and it's hard. Like I have my own like personal training on the side. My wife and I are business partners in that. I think that's totally different. But I think with Lep for sure, like I think we've just had maybe like miscommunications on things. I think communication is just the big thing, right? Like if you're not communicating about your thoughts on certain subjects or how you want things done or how you think things should be run, I think that's where it causes issues. Can you start telling yourself a story about like what the other person's doing or not doing or what they're thinking, and then that's going to cause a lot of tension in the relationship for sure.
Assumptions and things like that. So
and looking at different priorities, like people's priorities are different too. Like some people are gonna want to do certain things differently than the other person. So I think really communicating through that's going to be super important for sure.
I think we've done pretty good.
Yeah, I think
with each other.
I would agree. Yeah,
I don't think we've
like I think we've maybe had like just like a couple like harder text conversations, but nothing crazy. Like we haven't had any big fallouts, no fights. We've been really clean and like I think clear on like we brought in like another coach, Aaron, who's been great, but Lep was like, he approached me with that idea. He's like, I think he's really good. Let's bring him in. Let's get him to do a couple of different classes, see how the members take to him, and I think it's worked out really well.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I think having that transparency between us and then anybody else that we bring along sets a very big tone on how we carry our relationship and how that goes forward as we grow as a company, right?
So is the ambition for you guys then, is the end game that one big space, or does it go beyond that? Is there like a supplement line? Is there like what, is it sky's the limit, or how big do you want to take this thing?
I don't know about supplement line. Like, that's such a like, it's
very
saturated market. It's a good word, and like even like unless you got a big name in the space, right? Like absolutely. Everybody knows like the name Matt Frazier in the CrossFit world. He just started a supplement line. do I think like I look at a lot of the ingredients and some of the stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could probably make it better. But you have those connections, and so like, yeah, I definitely don't have any ambitions for that. Maybe we do like a Lakeside Athletics brew with 416 in the future.
Collab.
But so collabs are cool. Like we're not gonna get into like, I don't think Lep has any plans, or we haven't talked about it, getting into like merch or anything like that. We're not gonna sell like whatever. Like we have our own gym stuff that we do, but we're not gonna try to expand on that, I don't think. So I think probably just staying within the fitness space, and maybe, like I said, expanding locations, adding another location might be something that would be really cool. And then just kind of growing from there, like getting into more of like I'd like to try to open up the like Olympic lifting space in Niagara. Like not a lot of people do a lot of Olympic lifting or weightlifting. So I think bringing that to like younger kids as well, I think would be really cool. So that's something future for me that I'm super interested in. Definitely no supplements. No, not something I want to get into.
I think just having that overall space where we can have all those things or services that we can provide to the community is going to be key, or one of the big things for us to have in the end result, but also be really good at each one of those services, right?
Yeah, like I think if you try to branch out too much, you're probably going to dilute your product a little bit. And like one thing I know we've talked about too is like getting in like different seminars as well. So getting like people that are big in the industry, that are a lot smarter than us or super successful in different whatever nutrition space, whatever it may be. Getting people to come in and be able to do that, and then like run education for other coaches coming in.
The guest lecturer, if you will. That idea.
Absolutely.
Like, this person is big on. This guy's like the king of CrossFit, like that gentleman you just named. Like, having someone of that kind of caliber come in and run and you know what? In like the MMA boxing community, like that's been a bit of a thing where like, you know, I remember my friend Dan, he did Muay Thai for a while, and they had like one of GSP's like kickboxing coaches come to a thing, and like, you know what I mean? And so I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So you guys see yourselves like physically in the space for the first season, like that's the goal, right? Which is good, because the reason why I asked that is because a lot of kids, especially like my age or even younger, have this like diluted idea of like what success is, and they're like, I want to be a fucking billionaire, and it's like, do you want to manage like a workforce of like a shit ton of people, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like people need to find something that they're like happy to go to work to every day, and I feel like you guys.
That's huge too, because and there's actually like a lot of like research into that, where like there's a certain number in terms of like salary or earning that like once you hit that number, that's like your max happy, right? So let's say it's 100K a year, and like in the difference between you making 100K and making 150 and 200, there's no difference. The only difference is actually that the more money you make, the more money you want to make, right? So it's like people are always chasing something too. So it's like, when are you ever going to be happy? It's like, okay, made 100K this year, I want to make 150 next year. And it's like, okay, the year after that I want to make 200. And it's like, okay, but if you're going to a job that you hate,
absolutely,
or you're in a career that you hate and you don't enjoy, and it doesn't allow you to train as much as you want or see your family as much as you want, it's like, well, what's the point? Like, you're just going to be unhappy. Like, yeah, you're making good money, but like I think this is a space where as long as you can build like a really good community, and I think you can make a lot of money. So I know a lot of people think that like personal trainers and stuff, like they don't make a lot of good money, but not that money's the be all end all, but you can do it. You just have to build good relationships in the industry with it too. So which is important to me, definitely, is like more so like being happy with what I do, rather than being able to retire at 50. And over the past, especially like I'm going to be 33, but as I've gotten older, like I have 2 sons, so it's like thinking about possibly being able to pass something down to them has been something huge. So kind of looking at that, it's like, what does that look like, right? Like leaving like a quote unquote legacy trail behind for somebody. It's like, I see some of my clients, they've been able to kind of incorporate their kids into their businesses, and it's like I'd love for my oldest son or my youngest son, whatever, to be able to kind of jump in and take over eventually one day. So, and just be around it. I think that's super beneficial for a kid to be around a parent that trains a lot, works hard, and I think that you're just going to see a lot of that. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a lot of hard work for you to see yourself being successful as a personal trainer, as a coach. I think you can agree to like how many years you put into.
Yeah, and then, like I haven't even been in the industry that long either,
Right.
compared to some people. Like people are in this like 30 years before they get to like the point where they're successful. So I think it's like take the long road type thing, and but people don't see the work that goes into it, right? But like
They just assume, well, we work out at the gym and, that's it.
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
I look good, feel good, No, there's more to it than just that.
they don't see the research you're
Yeah.
doing for clients. They don't see the programming you have to do on the side. They don't see like, and then plus again, like I said, like family's super important to me. So it's like I get up every day at 3:15 in the morning, so I can train, do all that stuff.
You wake up at 3:15 every day.
3:15 every day.
Holy fuck.
Every day. I know. Jocko Willink can eat shit, right? Like
Yeah,
it's like he posts his 4 a.m. It's like no. I'm up at 3:15 every day, so I can get my training in because I love it. But also then like try to be finished training when the boys are getting up, and then kind of help out with that because that's super important. So, but a lot of people don't see that stuff. They just think we work at a gym and sit around and watch.
I'm up at 4 a.m. saying
CrossFit
my clients
videos.
They start right at 5 a.m. So I'm up there early too as well, getting my training in, and
then sometimes you have a class at 7 at night,
Yeah.
right? Or like a late client.
Yeah, how
so,
do you guys? So obviously, like we all know sleep's stupid important for recovery and mental health and everything. So how are you guys? Like, how are you getting your hours in sleep?
Like I don't even get enough. Like
Okay.
and I'll say that like I preach it to clients. Like that's probably one of the worst things I'm at is like I'm like don't do as I do. Like just do what I say type thing. But like I try to be in bed by like 8:30 at the latest.
And that works in your relationship. Like your wife understands.
Oh yeah, like we have a 6-month-old now, and then we have like a 3.5-year-old. So it's like she's pretty much like going to bed right at, and she's in the same industry, so she manages it in a commercial gym. She's a fitness manager, so she gets that, but she's in bed before me. So
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah, she pretty much goes to bed like I think usually she's in bed by like 8 right now. So that creates its own issues, right? So it's like time spent together is really hard as well.
100%.
But yeah, like that's probably as early as I can get to bed. I'd like to get to bed earlier. Like, would I love to have at least 7 to 9 hours? Like, no, but sometimes it's like 6.5, and it's like I'm good. I've been doing it for so long that like my body's kind of gotten used to it.
yeah.
For sure.
Same thing
for
you
sure,
are?
yeah. I'm about 5-6 hours, give or take. Give or take.
I feel the difference. Like that 6 is the wall, right?
Yeah.
Like if I get less than 6, I definitely feel like I got less than 6. But if I can get like 6 on or just after, it's like boom, whoops, telling me I'm in the green, I'm good to go. So it's yeah.
That's awesome. So how do you guys kick back? How do you relax? Do you guys have do you have a favorite cheat meal? Like give me the geeky fitness questions.
Go ahead, man.
For me, like I try to get away from fitness in general. I'll go golfing. I'll ride my motorcycle. I'll just go for a walk and just that's me. That's like my time, my space.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would say I love to golf. I haven't done it as much, especially with having kids. Like I went for the first time in like almost 4 years. We had a golf tournament for Lakeside. So we all I wouldn't know if it was like tournament. It was like more we got out and goofed around. It was really fun. We plan on doing more stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But that's like I love golfing. I love sports, but like I love like family time too, right? So spending time with my kids is probably more of like the relaxation. And then training is super important. Like if I know if I don't train,
You training versus training someone else.
Yeah. I definitely have a mood difference for sure. Like
100%.
so. I think that's big for me as well. But yeah, and I like watching like Netflix, whatever, chilling out, watching a movie. Especially now my son's a little bit older, so we definitely try to cut screen time down. But it's like now that he's older, if he does something good, like whatever, we have a movie night, and it's like sitting and doing that. Like I love that. That's what I did growing up. I'd go to the movies all the time, which I can't wait to be able to actually take him to a movie theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, just chilling with family mostly.
Cheat meals?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wanted to know. I was just out of curiosity.
So cheat meals, not really. I wouldn't call it cheat meal, right? But like my favorite's probably like sushi. I love sushi and pizza.
I can agree with that.
Like a good pizza, not junk pizza,
No.
but like I want like a good wood oven fired kind of pizza that's gonna be tasty. But I think I at least have sushi once a week.
Okay.
The rest of that time, like my nutrition's pretty strict. Like I'm like macros, so it's like whatever I can fit into my macros for that day. It's like fine. If I want to fit pizza in, I can fit it in. But that goes with in terms of like I'll probably be starving because you're not going to get as much food throughout the day. So,
Yeah.
but pizza, sushi for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
Pretty
typical
much
for
the
most
same,
people.
Yeah. Pizza, sushi. I don't really go off the deep end with like anything. Too
Like it's not
extreme.
worth
Like,
it to me either,
yeah,
right?
'cause
Like
I feel the
like, do I want to go have a donut compared to being able to have like almost like a full meal, like where I'm actually gonna be like satiated and not hungry in 10 minutes? It's like, yeah, the donuts, it's fleeting, right? It's kind of like a one night stand. It's like feels good when you're doing it, but after that, it's the next morning you're like, what the fuck did I just do? Haven't had that in a really, really long time since I've been married or with my wife, but in saying that, yeah, that's why I look at like donuts, right? Donuts, bagels, that type of stuff. It's like it doesn't do it for me. So.
No. Okay. Cool. Now, just random question. Then I'll ask you the final question. We'll wrap it up. But random question. What does a day of eating look like for you normally? Give me a typical day of like what do you eat in a day?
Pretty much the same every day, close to it, right? Unless, like I said, like tonight I'm getting sushi. We're gonna get sushi tonight. But it's like. And then generally whatever my macros are doing, so like certain days will be a little higher, some will be a little bit lower, but generally it's going to be like morning's going to be a big salad with meat, some sort of meat, protein, right? Yeah. And then oats, some banana on the side, whatever, nut butter on the oats. And then my other meals are generally it's going to be like potatoes or rice, veggies, protein, usually have like a couple duck eggs in there, like we eat duck eggs because my wife can't have chicken eggs.
Okay.
And then I'll make like a protein pancake as a snack. It'll be my snack. That's like a typical day, and then just the certain amounts of how much is that in there?
Potatoes, sweet potatoes or like white potatoes?
Russets are my favorite. Air fryer, boom.
Air fryer russets. Okay, sweet.
You are using that quite often in the air fryer?
Yeah, I use the air fryer. I kill the air fryer.
I got one too.
It's so easy, especially with kids, right? Like you're able to you can just cut, boom, in there. Okay, go do stuff, get the kids' food ready, whatever. And that's a big thing with convenience. Is like that's what's more impressive to me is like just going back in terms of like talking about like athletes and stuff. Is like you see these people that are high level athletes, especially in like the CrossFit space. They have a bunch of kids and they're able to do what they do, or like athletes like whatever LeBron James. Yeah. He's got a bunch of kids, obviously. He's got the money that he can probably pay for a lot of the work to be done, but to be able to be a pro athlete and be a good parent, I think is huge too. So, but in terms of cooking, I eat a lot of potatoes.
That's it. Okay. What
yeah.
about you?
I mean, just going off what Christian said, it's pretty much the same thing. Some sort of protein. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I used to track my macros like Christian here, but pretty much now just eat to perform for my workouts, and that's generally pretty much eyeballing most of the things that I do eat, as long as I'm getting enough protein. That's one of my goals, and getting enough carbohydrates. So, yeah.
Like I think meal prep's huge. It's something that like if I give people like a superpower, like my clients, it'd be like just to meal prep properly. Yeah. Because it's like you run into trouble when it's like you run out of food, right? You need fast food. You're grabbing something that's frozen and shitty. If you have to cook every meal, it becomes a little bit daunting unless you love to cook and that's your job. But I think like being able to meal prep properly and then like not getting too crazy with it. Like again, like mine's simple. Like it's like literally I'm peeling potatoes, throwing veggies in the air fryer, cooking it, and I have meat cooked all the time, right? So it's like having that stuff available, I think is super convenient, and that's what's gonna again lead to those long lasting kind of consistent results. Is just it might be quote unquote boring, but anything's gonna taste good. You throw a little bit of mustard and ketchup on it and go to town. So
that's it.
Yeah.
I enjoy cooking, so I tend to kind of just cook every meal as I go.
Yeah.
So
certain stuff I'll
it's
cook.
pretty the same thing every single day to day. So
yeah, like certain meals I'll cook. Like maybe like one off, but like my breakfasts and stuff. Like certain ones where I feel like I need to be more time crunch. I'm gonna have that food cooked or have that food ready. Like the night before, I'll get like my big salad and whatever stuff ready. Boom, I can wake up, I can eat breakfast. That way I'm eating with my son for breakfast. I'm not busy getting my food ready while he's trying to eat, and then my wife's doing whatever. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Last question. I usually ask this to wrap it up, and I usually change the age range depending on the age. So if you guys could have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, what would you tell them? Just life advice, business advice, fitness advice, whatever you tell them, and whoever wants to go first can take it.
I would tell myself back then, just to surround yourself with positive people that are going to enhance your future, your life, people that are going to put you in the right direction. I think that's something I would tell my 22-year-old self, especially for my history and my past. For myself,
okay.
Personally, yeah.
It's probably a lot, but one would probably be to not chase perfection as much, which I still struggle with, being like the perfect shape, being in perfect shape, being the perfect husband, whatever. Like, it's really hard to be perfect in everything you do. And that's something I've definitely struggled with through my life. I think that's what kind of drew into my eating disorder when I was younger, as well as like just wanting to stay perfect all the time. So just the need not to be perfect. And then probably finances, like save your money. I made good money growing up in high school. And like, I think about the money you just, and I guess it's lessons learned, right? Like, you're going to learn, but like, I think becoming more money wise, and then maybe take time with schooling would be something like, that would be something I pass on to my sons. Like, don't rush into doing something. Like, I went to school for policing, and like, I don't want to say it was like a wasted whatever, but like, I don't like to think of stuff like that. Like, you're going to learn from something you do, but definitely take time for schooling. Like, take the year off, work. Like, don't go jumping into something, because now, like, looking back at it, it's like there's so many different things I would have liked to take in school, that now it's like financially it's like you can't just go drop 40 grand on a tuition and with a family, right? It's hard. So take time with schooling, and like take care of your finances growing up, learn how to save money properly, learn about credit and all that stuff, and then don't always kind of chase perfection, because it's something you're going to always be chasing.
That's a good trilogy. Okay, guys, shameless self-promotion. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they should follow you on social, whatever. Just
drop our socials.
Social media, Lakeside Grimsby on Instagram and Facebook. Website is www.lakesidegrimsby.com.
Beautiful. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us, man. That was awesome.